Hey guys, I'm Jay Veershank. Thanks for joining me here on another edition of Book Reviews. Today we're going to go over a really good one, Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsch. It's a really cool book. The more you read and the more ideas and information you consume, the more you are able to interconnect them. And this book for me was a really good one on interconnecting all the information not all of it, but interconnecting a lot of ideas that I hadn't been able to formulate together and see how they were related. Same with the Celestine Prophecy. If you are curious what that is, that's a book that I reviewed in another video that I really recommend. But that book put together a lot of pieces too that are kind of fragmented and kind of put them together, and different ideas and different worlds of thought brought them together into one. And Conversations with God is really interesting too, because the pieces that are put together for me were like kind of these new age abstract spiritual ideas of God being experienced in the physical form through humans, which is an interesting idea. And whatever your idea of God or love or all those things, they're just ideas, right? So then the more kind of information and the more ideas you have of other people's, the more you can kind of start to create this puzzle or create this mosaic, if you will, of ideas, and it turns into something that is for lack of better terms, beautiful. It might not be, you might not see utility in it, but you can at least appreciate the beauty of it. So, yeah, Conversations with God is a really cool book because it has to do, this guy, Neil, he claims, he was just sitting down to write, and he basically became a conduit for the divine. What he means by that is that God literally started talking to him in his mind. And now there's many different opinions for what that could have been. And when I was reading this book about a year ago, I was thinking like, I don't know how much I resonate with the language he's using around God talking to him and him having conversations with God, just because of my own ideas about what that would mean. I kind of think of that more as maybe his intuition was speaking to him when he was calling his intuition this divine source, like a whole other person. I don't resonate with that, but it still didn't stop me from getting a lot of value from the book, because what he says that God tells him is very, very, very interesting. And some of the biggest parts that spoke to me when I first read it were the ideas of relativity. And what I mean by that is relativity in the sense of to say that there is supposed to only be good, or it would be best if there was only love and malevolence, or love and benevolence and beauty and all those things. The world would be best if it was just that. This book says, well, if we just had that, it wouldn't exist. Because, to have one frame of reference, you have to have another side of it, right? So if there's nothing that's ugly, then how do we know what's beautiful? If there's nothing that is hate, then how do we know what is love? If there's no evil, then what's the other side of that? So that was an interesting idea, because that goes into a lot of aspects of how you navigate through the world and how you navigate other people's ideas when they confront yours or you don't agree with them. It's like, well, the only reason that either of you guys' ideas can even manifest is because the opposite has been manifested in the past. So it gives you an appreciation for other people's point of views in that way, and it also can help you appreciate and try to understand ideas, because it's almost like all ideas birth the relative idea that you might be thinking in your mind, like, I don't like this because I think it should be like this, but the only reason you think it should be like this is because what you don't like exists. So that's an interesting idea, definitely. And then, it talks about, I really liked the idea, so God created humans to experience itself in the physical form, because with the physical form, there is something rather than nothing. Like God explains in this book, like when God was everything, it was nothing, because there was no relative side, right? There was nothing to see itself reflected in. It was just omnipresent, but in omnipresence, it was nothing. So then it started to manifest physical reality. And through manifesting physical reality, God was able to experience itself, and then eventually God developed human, and with humans it could experience itself in the most intricate way, because of free choice and because of all the senses and just because of intelligence and all of those things. And then the idea that love is the way in which God experiences themselves most fully. So it's a really interesting idea because it starts to talk about, this is quite the extrapolation, and it's quite metaphorically dense, and everyone will indubitably understand it differently because of human nature and how you think and how your life has constructed your perceptions. But for me, I really resonated with the idea that, okay, so God is experiencing itself through me in the physical reality, and God enjoys the experience of love being positive emotion, fun, higher frequency or higher density thinking and action and experience. So by exhibiting that and letting God experience those feelings, ideas, and experiences through me, of love, that's how I'm most in touch with God. And that was a really, really great idea, I think, that was portrayed in this book. He portrayed it in a beautiful way. And that's, super empowering because, like I said earlier, Neil felt like he was a conduit for God. And you could say a conduit for the divine if you don't believe in God. That's totally fine. But what he's saying in this is, God is most likely to want is silly, but God is most likely to experience itself through you most frequently when you are allowing yourself to experience life through the lens of love, holistically. And that's just, it's so empowering because, like, you hear it all the time, whatever, love is the answer. Recommend it. Conversations with God, Neil Donald Walsch. I've only read the first one. There's 3 of these books. Let me know if you've read the other ones and what you think about them. If you watched the video, thank you. Subscribe and give me a like, and tell your friends because I got tons more books to review. Thanks, guys. Peace.